What's happening, you savages? Thank you very much for coming out here on a Wednesday night. I know you guys are doing a lot of shit tonight. You know, you had plans, like to sit on the 134 for another fucking hour. It was bumper to bumper. Thank God I don't give a fuck about the HOV lane. I got right in that motherfucker solo. Like John Lennon, solo. I said, fuck it. 90, I don't give a fuck about the ticket. I gotta go up to the Ice House and see some savages tonight. But, you know, as is, it's Testicle Testaments, you know, where you find out how you got your balls. This is what it's about. We tell a couple stories, and you go home, and you think about it, and you twit me tomorrow. I don't give a fuck what you do, you know what I'm saying? But it's weird because most of the Testicle Testaments I talk about have to do with crime or drugs or whatever. And I got a couple people twitting me, asking me about comedy, you know, how I got into comedy and what had happened. And it's funny because a couple of years ago, I got a movie called The Longest Yard, right? And when I got it, I was fucking in shock. I mean, I'm a piece of shit. And here I am in this table read, and I'm sitting next to Burt Reynolds, and I'm sitting across from Tracy Morgan and Chris Rock and all these fucking people, and I'm sitting there going, if these motherfuckers knew that 15 years ago I was mugging hookers and lighting their wigs on fire, you know, if these motherfuckers knew that, you know, I'm a little fucked up, you know. You know, the only other criminal in the room was Romanowski, right? He was on probation for beating some guy up with a helmet and shit, right? And he couldn't even sit next to me. There was two felons in the room. He had to sit on the other side. Sit on the other side, motherfucker, balance this out. And I'm sitting there with the guy from 48 Hours, Luther, and he was in Warriors. You know, Warriors come out to play, eh? And I'm looking at this guy, and I'm going, I grew up watching this shit. And here I am sitting next to these motherfuckers. And I'm like, I wouldn't even get in my car because I thought I was going to get into a car accident. Like when I got The Longest Yard for like the 4 or 5 days before that, I would look at buildings because I thought a building was going to fall on my fucking head. Because after what I had done in my life to be on a fucking set of this movie, and I remember them flying down to, when I got that movie, I had $13, I had a couple cigarettes, and I had like a $10 bag of weed. And that's what I went down to New Mexico with. And they flew me down the plane, like I thought I was going to LAX. No. We got a private plane. I remember getting to the table read the first day, and Adam Sandler was outside with flip-flops on. He carried my luggage. And I'm like, oh my fucking God. These motherfuckers have no idea. You know, they have no idea. He's like, how are you? How you feeling? He carried my luggage. Come on, down. We got to get upstairs. I'm like, oh, this motherfucker. And I got no money, and I fly down there. And I get to the hotel room, and I don't even have a credit card to put down the deposit, right? I don't even have a fucking credit card, like, to put the deposit. Like, I was like, what am I gonna do? And I get there, and I'm like, they're like, Joey? Yeah, and they give me this package. And I take it up to my room, right? And I open the fucking package, there's an envelope with $800 cash in there. And there was car keys. I'm like, fucking car keys? And I look, and it's a rental thing from, like, Alamo. And they rented us, like, a fucking SUV. I didn't have a driver's license. I'm like, they didn't even ask me to see it. Like, usually people, can we see your driver's license? I didn't have a fucking driver's license. I had one, but I didn't have it with me, you know what I'm saying? Like, I had a license in Colorado, I had one in New Jersey, I had one in Seattle, but I didn't have any of them on me at the time, you know what I'm saying? Because fuck it, why carry a license? If I do something, then they'll find it. Fuck it, I didn't even carry a license in those days. Who is he? I don't know. I don't even know who the fuck I am, dog. You know, so I didn't know what the fuck was going on. So, and then I remember the first day of shooting. Like, guys, you have no idea. I was a criminal. And here I am with Chris Rock and Adam Sandler. They got cameras in my face. But all these guys were comics, you know? And I was scared shit. Because you're always scared shit. I'm a pussy when it comes to that stuff. I was petrified. And I remember them having to do the first scene, which is the tree out that day, and they're all watching. And when I finished the scene, like before the scene, people stood away from me like I had a cold or I had HIV. But after the scene, they started talking to me like, what's up, dog? What the fuck you been? And I'm like, something happened, you know? And I didn't know, and I did the movie, and the movie came out, whatever, and I went into a funk. But just getting that movie at that time was fucking huge for me. Like, it had blown me the fuck away, because all the parts I was getting were 1 day, 2 days, a day and a half, shit like that. I was never getting like a big fucking movie. So this was like huge for me. And throughout the whole shooting, like the first 6 weeks, I didn't even do coke. I was I was so hooked on coke at the time. I did a gram a night, and those first 6 weeks, I didn't even do coke because my head would blow up. I would just sit in the room and smoke pot and write and think about where the fuck, you know. And it's funny because you always want to do something. When you're a kid, you see a fireman, you're like, fuck it, I'm gonna be a fireman. You know, then you watch a show and you want to be that thing. I want to jump off helicopters, you know? So your whole life you're thinking about, fuck, when I get older, I'm gonna jump off helicopters. But then you get to high school and you smoke pot and you eat some girl's pussy and you fail, you get a D, and shit don't work out. So the rest of the time you're like, I want to be a helicopter pilot, and you get a day job, but we just don't know how to fucking pursue it. Like, that's the biggest thing. Like, I always thought, look, I'm from Cuba. First time I seen Charles Bronson, the Valachi Papers, I was like, that's what I want to do. I want to be in fucking movies. How do you get in movies? And I would ask people, I want to be in a movie. They would say, my sister works on films. What does she do? She sweeps. Fucking talk to her, dog. I'm ready, dog. You know, fuck De Niro. I can fuck his shit up, dog. You know, I didn't know nothing. And I met a guy in Boulder that was a camera guy. And I would always torture him when I was going to college. Dog, you got to put me in the movies. He's like, what do you do? What the fuck you mean, what do I do? I do it all. And he's like, what do you do, you know? But it's weird how when I was a little kid, like I came from Cuba, and I learned how to speak English by watching comedy television. All these fucking people get the earphone, and they give $60 to Suzanne, whatever, to learn how to speak a language. You don't need to do that shit. All you need to do is put TV, learn one word at a time, and then put the rest of the shit together. I knew chocolate. I knew the word chocolate. That's the first word I knew when I came from Cuba. Chocolate, but I didn't know it was chocolate. I thought it was chocolate late. So I always thought you had to eat chocolate at night. Like, fuck it, dog. I don't eat chocolate at night, dog. It's chocolate late. So the power of the language, and like Dick Van Dyke. I used to watch Dick Van Dyke every day. And I wasn't fucking laughing. I was just trying to learn English. And then through the laughter, he taught me fucking English, you know? Like, that's how I learned it. But I had never known what stand-up comedy was. I watched television like the rest of us. And one day, right, you're about 10, you're playing with like a little fucking kid that you're not supposed to be playing with. Like, this is a Puerto Rican kid, right? I don't even remember what his name was, Guillo or something. He's dead now. But yeah, we were like the same age. He died. I don't know, he died of a heart attack, he had diabetes. I don't fucking know, right? But he had like a cousin, and his name was Doombuggy, right? And he took me up to Doombuggies one day. I'm like 10 or 11. He takes me up to Doombuggies, and we're listening to like the Beatles and shit. We think we're bad, you know, like the Beatles with the Yellow Submarine. And Doombuggy was a heroin addict, right? Like, and you guys have never seen, in the 70s in New York City, there were heroin addicts everywhere, and they'd fall asleep. They'd just be talking to you, all of a sudden they just, bro, what happened? I didn't know, you know, it's fucking hysterical. It is hysterical. If you've never seen it, you see people, you know like when you walk up to a fucking light and there's a light's green and you can't cross? I actually seen junkies fall asleep waiting for the fucking thing. Like they'd fall on the fucking floor and people just step over them. It's New York. You know? Dog, we don't give a fuck, you know what I'm saying? So we go up there and we're in there listening to the Beatles, and Doombuggy comes in. And my mother had a bar, so I knew about drugs, but heroin was fucking crazy. He comes in, he's all fucked up. What are you motherfuckers listening to? And he's cursing, like, what are you little motherfuckers listening to? I'm like, what the fuck, who's this fucking guy? He's like, that's my cousin Doombuggy, dog. He's fucked up. He's on drugs. So he sits down, and he's like, what the fuck is this music? I'm like, this is the Beatles, bitch. And he's like, nah, take that shit off. I want you to listen to this album. And he put this album called Richard Pryor, The Nigger's Crazy. And he put on the Dracula Meets Wino. I don't know if you've heard it. I don't care if you've heard it. Do you know when you see something that's puts you in a different level in your life? Like sometimes you're watching the Olympics and they get the gold medal and it makes you get emotional, like your tears come in your eyes or something. We all have something, you know? We watch fucking Desperate Housewives. There's something that gets you emotional sometimes. Well, this was it. Listening to Richard Pryor was mind-boggling. Here I was a Cuban kid. It took me 7 years to learn English, you know, like just to get it together. And now this guy's in there talking about fuck you and your mother and where'd you get that dirt on the back of your neck? You're a filthy motherfucker too. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? And Doombuggy's nodding by that time. And I'm like, Doombuggy's like, shh, dog, I'm trying to listen to the album, you know what I'm saying? Shut up. And I was blown away. And my first fucking mission when I left there was fuck the Jackson 5, Fuck the Osmonds. I'm getting that Niggas Crazy album by Richard Pryor. I'm like, this is too much. This is just too much. All this language and all this beauty. I was blown the fuck away, and I went home. And in the old days, guys, when you had a dirty album like that, it was a dirty album. Like now you got a CD or a download on your iPod. But when you have an album, everybody had to hear it. So you had to put the Richard Pryor album on and then put like the Beatles over it. So if your mother walked in the room, you could drop the Beatles. So he's talking about suck my dick, bitch, and all of a sudden you're like, boom, bam, help, I need somebody, help, not just anybody, help. So your mom don't know, what just happened? I don't know, Ma, I don't know. I just need someone, Ma, you know what I'm saying? Help, bitch, I need somebody. So, that was the scam. Then when she left the room, she fucked it up, dog, find us. Then after that, after the Niggas Crazy came out with Bicentennial Nigga, and was it something I said? So I had gotten all these kids in my neighborhood, because my mother had the bar in the afternoon. So we would go to my house, put the album on, and fucking close the door. And at that time, we didn't even smoke pot yet. I wasn't even smoking pot yet. We would do this shit straight like a soldier. Like a soldier in Iraq, straight in that fucking little huddle there. 6 guys sitting around giggling at the bad words and what he was saying. And then I watched it on television. By that time, you fucking seen comedians. I seen Richard Pryor and George Carlin, and I knew it was there. And that was it. Like, I just knew. Like, I never said to myself, I want to do stand-up comedy. I just knew that option was there. Fuck, that's a weird thing to do, and that's it. I just moved on. It's like you girls see prostitution. What are you? You see porno. You see a girl taking in the ass. You're like, I do that once a week. I could do that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to do that. But if things got bad and I lost my job, I could do that. Same thing, and that's how it starts with comedy. Because with comedy, it tests us. Like sometimes you watch a comedian on TV and you're like, I'm funnier than that dude. Fuck that punk. I could do this, and that's one inspiration from it. But I never even thought about comedy. I wanted to be a fucking movie star. I didn't want to be a movie star. I just want to kill people on stage. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just want to kill people in the movies. Bam, 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 and get in my car and go into the sunset. I didn't want to ride a horse or make out with people or do No. I always wanted to be a bad guy in the movies. Once I seen Valachi Papers or Charles Bronson, I knew that was my fucking goal. And that was it. That was it. My mother passed away. I got into crime, whatever. But before all that shit started, like people always say to me, when did you really start stand-up comedy? And I always thought it was 91. But when I was a freshman in high school, I used to play basketball. I played basketball every year, but freshman year especially, we used to take the bus from 80th Street to fucking 29th Street on the way home. And at 6:05, the bus driver would open that door and 15 savages would get on that door. We were savages, you understand me? I mean, we would torture people on the bus. It was like a Charles Bronson movie, like Death Wish, when the guys get on the bus and they take people's hats off and put snots on them. That was us. And that's where we learned how to fuck with junkies, because there was always a junkie on that fucking bus. Going to Jersey City, coming back from the methadone center, because after they get off heroin, they drink methadone, which is even fucking worse. That puts you to sleep and you drool. But the best was that was our job, to fuck around with the heroin people. So they'd be, one particular had the fucking Daily News open, and he's sitting there and the bus is moving, right? And he's passed the fuck out, passed out. And his mouth is open, he's got a drool spit, a string connected from his lip to the newspaper. And it's a little puddle of drool, like 3 or 4 inches of drool, right? And he's just sitting there all fucked up. And I sat next to him and I farted really fucking bad, right? That was part of the game. We would torture fucking junkies, right? Torture the junkie, that was it. And that was on the way up. On the way down, it was different. You tortured housewives and shit like that. But on the way up, they would just be coming from their methadone shit and they'd be all fucked up. So I sat next to this motherfucker and I farted good. One of those morning farts. When you're 14, you ate like a box of fucking cereal and milk and bananas. You know how it gets and you don't want to shit, so you take it with you to school and it's in your ass. So I blasted one of those in the morning, like 8:15, fucking coming at you. And this motherfucker was like this, right? And all of a sudden he went. And he wiped his face and he goes, "What the fuck is wrong with you little motherfuckers?" He goes, "Bothering me when I'm trying to read the motherfucking paper." Read? You've been passed out for 20 minutes. You little motherfuckers. We used to see some fucked up shit on that bus, dog. Fucked up shit on that bus. And we had to pass this area called Lucci, 64th Street Field, and these were the savages of my hometown. These kids didn't even have kids. They killed their parents. Like they didn't have parents, like they had all killed their kids. Lincoln School, we had 9 grammar schools in North Bergen, but Lincoln School was where the kids went to basketball games in chains, with a guy whipping them and shit. They were half retarded, but they were criminals, and they put them all together. I swear to God, the 3rd floor was for momos, and the criminals on the bottom floor would throw them off the fucking roof and shit. Lincoln School, the principal had one of those eagle eyes that went up and said, "What is the meaning of this shit?" Right? He had one of those things. What is the meaning of this? So, this was the roughest fucking Italian, Irish motherfuckers you ever met in your life. Dirty white motherfuckers. Sons of Anarchy motherfuckers type, right? So one day we got on this bus and it just snowed in New York, like 92 fucking inches of snow. Now, when it snows 92 inches of snow, you fucking drive with your windows closed, especially North Bergen. Because we would set up behind cars and get snowballs and dip them in fucking water and throw those things at you. Fucking lethal type shit in the winter. Tremendous. So we're on this bus. We got on the bus, and the windows are open in the middle because it was hot in the daytime. After the snow, it gets hot the next day. The sun's out melting shit. But that fucking snow, that melting snow, you take that water and an ice ball becomes a fucking boulder of death. It just... So this guy gets on with 2 of his cousins, and he's Italian. I don't know if he's gay, and he's speaking Italian. Parmigiano, mamma mia, and all this shit, right? So I'll never fucking forget this. I could be 80, and I see, you know when you see something happening is the best? Like sometimes you see like an old lady crossing, you see a guy robbing the red light, and you're like, I'm watching this shit. This is going down right in front of me, and you see it. You see it evolving. Like you see her, and you get the, oh, this bitch is getting hit. I'm gonna watch this shit. So, they're walking on the bus, and we from North Bergen, it's the hilliest city in the country behind San Francisco. So when you get on the bus, you're always like trying to climb up in the seats. It's going downhill, and this motherfucker's going 80. He gets on the bus, we're in the back like little criminals, and I see him, but in the middle, somebody had left the windows open. And right there, I know, that's what these kids on 64th Street look for. They got a guy like with a walkie-talkie, a bus coming with windows open, fucking bombard, right? So I see the windows open. He's all happy. It's sunny out. He's got his Italian white hat on. Mamma mia and all this shit. And he puts his cousins on this seat here, and he sits alone right here, and the window's wide the fuck open. And me, at that time, I was like a half a weeblo. Like I was only a Boy Scout for like 3 or 4 days. And I could have stopped him as a Boy Scout. You're supposed to be, excuse me, sir, close the windows. There's some savages in the fucking thing. Remember that scene, Apocalypse Now, where they got the boat and people start throwing spears and shit, and I don't know? Within minutes, I said this to myself. I go, this motherfucker's about to get bombarded with that window open. And sure enough, you just heard, and they were coming from both directions. And the cousin's like, ¿Qué pasó? ¿Qué pasó? The cousin, get far, no, get far. And this motherfucker's looking around, and he looks out the window, and you hear it. You just hear it. And it just hits this motherfucker, right? And you hit like that type of shit, right? And we're in the back howling at this fucking point. He gets on the floor, the fucking snowball hits him right on, like a Chuck Liddell punch. He hits the floor, he gets up bleeding profusely. I'll never forget, he goes, "Stoppity bus!" Stoppity bus! I could be 80 and I'm gonna be giggling about that someday in my deathbed. Stoppity bus! So that was where I started my comedy career right there, without knowing. We would get on there, first thing we do is start singing the Odd Couple theme. Dun, 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 the whole fucking back of the bus. And I do the whole verbiage. You know, Oscar Madison's wife threw him out, requesting that he never return. Can 2 divorced men share an apartment? And then we do scenes from The Honeymooners, Saturday Night Live. And then I just go up there and fucking get on one of the chairs. I'd be holding on, and I'd be just cracking jokes, goofing on the people on the bus. When we got off, that bus driver would be so fucking pissed off. He'd be furious, like, you little motherfuckers, you're never taking my bus again, you little fucks. Fuck you, Mr. Bus Driver, bitch. And the next night, he'd just fly past us. Fuck you, motherfucker. Cocksucker. So that's why I really kind of not knowing it. Like, I'm not even fucking knowing it. And then people would say, you know what, bro, you're funny. But I come from a town in Jersey where everybody's fucking funny. Then my mother died, right? And when you're in high school, when you're a kid, your mom dies. Or anytime your mom dies. When you're 15, your mom dies. First year, you're going through a lot of shit. Everybody dies. And my mother died, and I had these friends that they didn't even let me think about being sad. They were so funny. Till today, I talk to this guy, Roger, 3 times a week because he's the funniest person. You know, like when you watch the news and some white guy comes out, greetings, welcome to KTLA News. A man just robbed the bank and hit the lady on the head. Details coming at 11. Then they ask like the black guy, what happened? Bitch. This bitch tried to be a hero, motherfucker hit her with a cash register in the head. That was Roger. He'd tell you, and he always had like an inner text. His inner text was hysterical. He would whisper. So we're driving, we'd see like 3 fucking crazy people, and he'd go, look at these motherfuckers, under his breath, and you would giggle. And I always thought about how it made me feel. Like what I was going through. When I get home at night, at midnight, an hour in, I'd start getting depressed. But while I was with these guys, I laughed my fucking ass off. But again, I never thought about it. So now, I'm on North Bergen, I'm a full-time fucking criminal, full-time. Drugs, kidnapping, hookers, wigs, I'm going for it, right? Fuck it. I got felonies in Jersey, the whole fucking thing. I moved to Colorado, and I get arrested, and I get sent to prison, And prison's weird, because you could either go to prison and not get something out of it, and I didn't know I was gonna get something out of it. I just thought I was going to boys camp for a couple of weeks, smoke some pot, do some drugs in there. Wasn't like that, but it kind of was. Do you follow me? So when I get to my destination, I would talk to people, and I'm Cuban, so I could talk to black people, Mexicans. It don't matter to me. I don't give a fuck. I'm racially insensitive, but I ain't racist. You follow me? 2 big fucking differences, And I let people know, and they're like, fuck, at least you're real. I talk how people talk behind closed fucking doors. All right, that's how they talk. They're not gonna say some fucking nice Hispanic man cut me off on the 405. They're gonna say no, some spick motherfucker Bina cut me the fuck off on the 405. Okay, so why beat around the bush? I know we try to be Christians and Republicans, but fuck that shit at the end of the day, right? When you get to heaven, God's gonna say you faked it all those fucking years. All right, motherfucker, be honest with yourself. Get rid of that BMW. You're Puerto Rican. Get it together. So, it was funny because this Italian dude came up to me one day. He's like, dog, I see how you talk to people, and for some reason they like you. You make them laugh. He goes, I'm selling these football tickets, like illegal football tickets, and I can't do well with the minorities, and I can't do well with the white people. Can you help me? And I go, I'll be your partner. I ain't going to help you. I'll partner with you. We'll make 50-50. And this guy went from selling 1 card a week for Monday Night Football to I was selling everything. Ping pong, I was selling everything. China, and we didn't have the internet in prison. I was just making up tennis tournaments and shit, listen. And I seen it. He would say to me, dog, you get along with people. And then they made me in charge of the kitchen, right? I never cooked a fucking thing in my life. And I get to prison, the guy's like, you look like a cook, motherfucker. His name is Yarborough, big black motherfucker from Mississippi, 6'8", big motherfucker. Where you from? Cuba, oh, you motherfuckers. And he would just torture me every day. You fucking Cabanos are bad people. Look what you're doing. You let your prisons out, 130,000 criminals and all this. Are you one of those motherfuckers? So the first day he made me a baker, right? And he told me to make cinnamon buns. I never made cinnamon buns. So I made these cinnamon buns, and they fucking blew up the oven. They were this big. They came out. I made them like this big, but when they came out, they were this fucking big. He's like, you're fired. I thought you were Cuban. I thought you could cook. I can't cook. So he goes, I'm gonna make you the stock clerk driver. So the stock clerk, you're in charge of this area, and I would have the keys, and I could fucking hold weed for people and steroids and charge them rent. It was a great fucking scam. But it was fucking crazy. Like I had all these friends, and usually in prison, people stayed among themselves. So the whites, but I fucking bounced around. I got along with everybody. I went to the library, and I would check the meat. Listen, I'm a fucking picky motherfucking eater. You'll never see me at Taco Bell or McDonald's since I was a kid. My mother didn't let me eat fast food when we came from Cuba. I wasn't allowed to eat Kentucky Fried Chicken. When I went to Miami to see my cousins, fuck yeah, we tore up that fucking Colonel. But in New York, in front of my mom, she's like, fuck no, we gotta eat the Santeria chickens. We can't eat that shit, you know what I'm saying? So I never really dabbled in any of that shit, So I hate fucking cheap food. So the Invicts would come in, and I would hide behind like a curtain. And they'd all look at me like, what's good to eat? And I would yell, don't do it! Right? Whenever they get to like the macaroni and cheese, if it was shitty cheese, like welfare cheese, don't do it! Constipation coming, constipation coming, constipation alert. I would say shit like that. And Mr. Yarborough would say, what the fuck are you saying back there behind that curtain, boy? Why ain't these motherfuckers eating the shit on shingles? Shit on shingles is what they eat 3 times a fucking week. It's cream meat over bread. It's fucking gross. I don't know who invented it. I'm gonna look it up tonight on Wikipedia. I'm happy you motherfuckers remind him. I'm gonna look that motherfucker up and bomb his whole family, that shit. Because when you go to prison, you eat that shit 3 times a week. Cream, they call it shit on shingles. And it's fucking meat with fucking milk over bread. It's fucking horrible. You understand me? And the meat is like salami, burnt. And they chop it up and they mix like a finger in there and then they put it all together. Oh. And I would yell, don't do it. But then at the end of the night in the kitchen, they would ask me a question and I would fucking go off. Like I would just go off on everybody. Fuck, what the fuck did you do all day, cocksucker? You didn't do shit. You were sitting back there talking to your girlfriend and I would just go off. So on Thursday nights, they used to have movie night and they had a shitty projector. So they would put the projector on, and 10 minutes into the movie, boom, the projector would break, and they have to call the fucking guy. He was like Hannibal Lecter. He'd come out with like fake teeth and shit, but he's the only one who knew how to fix the projector and shit. They would give him like a weapon, and he would have to sharpen it. It was like 35-minute process. So they would say, "Where's the Cuban? Go up there and crack some jokes." Really? And they go, "Yeah, go up there and crack some jokes. Just talk about the prison." And I would go up there and just lay it into the guys. Like it was like Def Jam. I go, look at this black motherfucker over here on the phone 8 hours a day with his chicks. Got black people on the phone all day with their girlfriends. You got to sign up for the phone. They're on their own. Dog, I'll give you a homie for your phone. They'll give you $1 to buy you fucking 20 minutes. It was crazy. So I would talk about how the black guys were always on the phone. They would always be yelling at night. You know, just I'd goof on the white people. I'd goof on the Mexicans, the Cubans, the whole thing. And I didn't even know what I was doing. I was just going up there and fucking around. And then I used to go to the library in the afternoons because the dude in the library was very different. He was like Duncan Trussell, right? He was very intellect. He had glasses. He the only guy who had glasses in jail. He recited fucking Nietzsche. And I asked him what you did one day, and he goes, "I killed my wife and her boyfriend. Fuck it." And I'm like, this is a bad motherfucker right here. But he's reciting Nietzsche, and he knew things that I had never even heard about. And he liked me, and I liked him. In fact, we got acid one night and tripped together. And I told him to break down how he killed his wife. It was fucking classic, dog. He broke it down, how he stabbed her, and she was begging and shit, "Fuck you, bitch." And he pissed on both of them, and he called the cops himself. No, this is a good story, trust me. And when you're on acid, you want to shoot yourself. You're like, really? Let me try it on myself. You know what I'm saying? This motherfucker, under the night one time, he just broke it down. I killed them both, dog. I went home, I stabbed that bitch, and I stabbed him. I was like, God damn. I wish I had 3D glasses and shit right now. Because 3D glass and the story he told me was fucking phenomenal. On acid, we were scared for a week because the only way they could test you for acid is to tap into your spine. Piss doesn't test acid in prison. The only thing they test you for in piss is coke or heroin or barbiturates or THC. But when you did acid and shit, it didn't come up. So for a week, we were both paranoid. But he became my buddy. I really liked him and I trusted him. I had a couple buddies in there. I had this black dude, Antoine, a.k.a. Chicken Hawk. Another guy stabbed somebody. He was in there for 6 years for involuntary manslaughter. He told me the story how he stabbed the guy. I love all that shit. When people tell you a good story, that's a good story. You know what I'm saying? Like how they stabbed somebody. He went upstairs and got the knife, and the grandmother, he stabbed her, and he went downstairs. That's fucking interesting shit right there, right? Fuck Modern Family. I need that shit. Oh, fuck yourself. You know what I'm saying? It's real. This is reality TV in your head, you know? So, the guy, the white dude in the library was really tight with me. And one day I went in there and he gave me a notebook. And the notebook was really hard to get. You could either get loose paper, but a black notebook. And he goes, "I want you to write your jokes in there, you know?" And I go, "I don't have no fucking jokes." And he goes, "Listen, what do you mean you don't got no jokes?" He goes, "When you go up there during the week, you don't say nothing?" And I go, "No, I don't write nothing. I just go up there and fuck around." He's like, and he took off his glasses. He had like tears in his eyes. He's like, "Listen, when you get out of here, if you don't try stand-up comedy, I'm gonna break out of here and kill you." He had like another 90 years left. He's like, I'm gonna break out of here and kill you. You do know that. He goes, I want you to get out of here and focus on, he goes, sometimes in life you focus on weird shit. He told me some stuff that was just mind-boggling. He told me he goes, you ever think about how much time you put into getting a gram of coke or calling a girl? He goes, I want you to put that same focus into comedy. He goes, if you do this, he goes, dog, I'm gonna read about you. And I was like, you know, I would have laughed, but he killed his wife and the fucking boyfriend, you know what I'm saying? You can't laugh when you have a guy like that around you. I just looked at him and I shook his hand. I said, thank you for the notebook. And I went away and I didn't really think about it. And then something else happened. I had this counselor and he fucking was racist. He was a white dude from the South, but he hated everybody. He hated everybody. And I understood it. I wasn't mad at him. And I would meet with him once a week and he'd ask me questions. And I would say to him, dog, when they took me in, they did a psychological. Because when you go to prison, they do your physical, but then they take you into a room for 3 days and you have to put fucking balls and shit. And they ask you what this picture reminds you of, and you know. And I always wanted to know if I was crazy, just so I knew, you know. I'm like, am I crazy, dog? He's like, I can't tell you that. And I would ask him every day, dog, tell me what's on the psychological. Tell me what's on the fucking psychological. And he kind of hated me, but I busted his balls so much that he started to like me. You know, when somebody hates you, but you show them that much love after fucking 3 or 4 months, they start to like you. And one day I caught him outside. I go, Blue, when the fuck are you gonna fucking tell me what's on the psychological? Because that was his name, Mr. Blue. And he goes, listen, bug fucker. He goes, you know what's on that thing? Do you really want to hear what's on that thing, motherfucker? And I go, yeah, tell me once and for all. And when he told me like that, I got scared. I'm like, maybe I don't want to hear what's on that fucking thing. So he called me in his office and he opened up the file and he went to a page and he turned it around. He goes, fucking read that right there. And it said that I would never get in trouble again. I would never recidivate, whatever the fucking big word they use. And at the end, it said that I'm very dangerous because if I wanted something, I could get it. Some wording like that. And I said, what does that mean? That I'm a fucking thief? And he goes, yeah, in a way. He goes, it means that if you fucking want something that I have, for me to give it to you because you're gonna take it from me. And I was blown away, guys. It was a hole in my fucking heart. It confirmed everything that I thought about myself. I was a piece of shit. You know, I'm not gonna lie to you. I always thought, till today, I'm still in the back of my mind, we're insecure, bro. And I had it, and at least you recognize it, and it fuels you, you know, it fuels you. And I went to that room, and for 3 days, I didn't crack no fucking jokes. I didn't go to movie night. I didn't do shit, because that's it, I'm doomed. And I seen him again. He goes, how you doing, bug fucker? And I go, not too good since you told me that. And he goes, you're a dumb fucking spick. He goes, you took it as a thief. He goes, you didn't take it for what it said. It said that if you wanted to do something in this world, you could do it. And he walked away from me, and I was shattered. I was like, what the fuck is this motherfucker talking about? That's it. I get out of fucking prison. I go sell cars. I start slinging coke again. You know me. Old habits die hard. I'm in the halfway house trying to be Marlon Brando, right? And I didn't even think about fucking comedy. I had a girlfriend. I got her pregnant. So, you know, we had to have a fucking kid. I had to get married. Never thought about it. I got fucking married, guys, for all the wrong reasons. Sometimes in your life society, you're like, I gotta get married and have a kid, and you do it, and you're like, this ain't what I fucking wanted. And it happens all the time. People just don't have the balls to say, I'm fucked now. You know, and then they start drinking, and they do drugs, and then the rest is fucking history. It's just a bad fucking cycle. Well, let me tell you something. I thought I loved her until we were on the plane to the honeymoon. And it happens. I was like, what the fuck did I just do? You know, because now she went from being a girlfriend to becoming a wife, and it was complete. And I couldn't handle it. I was on my own since I was fucking 12, basically. Now I got somebody over my shoulder. I couldn't fucking handle it. I was like, there's no way. Like, make sure you do this. Fuck you. I do what I do. Don't tell me nothing. I already got it in my fucking head. You know what I'm saying? So I got into a fucking depression, guys. Like, people talk about depression. Oh my God, I can't wake up in the morning. Fuck you. I was there. I was there. I was doomed. In my heart, I was doomed, guys, and I'm sorry. People are gonna look at me wrong. Here I was, 28, 27, 26, married with a kid. My friends are in New York, hanging out at Studio 54, getting their dick sucked. And here I am in Colorado, surrounded by fucking Republicans. No fucking food, people running, healthy people, blow like a motherfucker though. Tons of drugs, but here I am, you know? And this is it. I'm gonna be a fucking roofer. From Monday to Friday till I'm 65 years old. Guys, I went fucking nuts. I hated going home. I used to be a roofer and estimator. I would leave at 6. I wouldn't get home till 7 o'clock at night. I was miserable. Listen, I tried to become 6 different religions in that time. I tried to become a Buddhist on Monday nights. I would walk around in circles with a bunch of people with no shoes on. Dirty fucking feet walking around getting fungus. I did that for about 2 weeks. Fuck that shit, right? Then I went to the Naropa Institute. I was going to become a philosopher. Again, a bunch of people who don't take showers with a trust fund. I don't need that shit telling me about what's really crack-a-lacking. Meanwhile, your dad's sending you $40,000 a fucking month. You know, you're riding a bicycle. You're not even taking showers because you're ashamed that you don't have a fucking job, but you're playing this on poor shit, and you're fucking filthy rich. I'm with a room with those fucking momos. Then I said, oh, no. I know what my problem is. I didn't make my fucking confirmation. That's what it was. As a Catholic, I should have made my confirmation at fucking 13. I went to the church and I signed up at Sacred Heart. Was it Sacred Heart? Yeah, it was like St. Tom. Oh, who the fuck knows? Who gives a fuck? It's a saint, you know what I'm saying? It's an entity. I went, I signed up, I took 8 weeks worth of classes, you know, for the Holy Spirit. I went down there, I had to get a fucking name, I had to get a voucher, uncle to be my fucking spirit, whatever. I did there, and I'm walking out of there, no spirit, and there was nothing. I was still a miserable motherfucker. Miserable. I fucking hated coming home. Hated it. I'd come home and how are you? How was your day? What do you think about life? What do you want to go for vacation? I don't fucking know. I just got off a fucking roof, okay? I just got off a roof with tar. I got sunburn in my fucking eyeballs. Guys, it was terrible. It was the first time I was really sick, depressed. I was doing an 8-ball and 2 snorts. You understand me? I was blowing an 8-ball and 2 fucking snorts. And I'm in the halfway house. And I'm fucking with them. I'm going to a psychological. I'm drinking fucking battery acid and vinegar and putting Drano on my dick. I'm doing everything to beat these fucking piss tests. You don't have a fucking idea when you're a junkie and they're pissing you 3 days a week and you're fucking with these motherfuckers. I figured it out. I was torturing. I was breaking machines on them. My dick looked like, I'm just recovering. It's 10 years of putting vitamin E on my dick. My dick looked like a Vietnam vet. He had holes in it and shit, bandages. Dee Mao, motherfucker. So when it snows, you can't fucking, do roofing. No, you can't roof, so you gotta take the day off. The kid would go to daycare till like 2, and I would just sit there all fucking day, mind fucking myself for 2 weeks, you know? And there was this video store, and one day by mistake, I rented Punchline with Tom Hanks and Sally, whatever, Fields, the Flying Nun. And I brought it home, guys, and right there, I'm like, oh, it's a movie about stand-up comedy. He wins a contest. And that's what I kept thinking. I'm like, maybe I'll win a contest, and they'll put me in a fucking movie. You know, and I'm like, who the fuck am I? I'm not a funny guy. Just because some convict said it, just some fucking convict said it, you know? So I watched the movie, and I was caught. I'm like, I gotta get into stand-up comedy. You know, but I gotta pass it by my fucking Republican wife and her fucking family, and they're gonna ask me about my felonies and how would I consider this shit. And sure enough, one day I said, you know what? At the dinner table on Sunday, I'm thinking of getting into stand-up comedy. It was like I farted. I'm like, well, you have a family, and how are you gonna do it? And there's drugs on those bars, and you could never do it. You know, who gave you the idea you were funny? I mean, they were just torturing me, guys. And I'm sitting there going, what the fuck? You know, this guy was a lieutenant colonel, but he never did nothing else in his fucking life. And the mother was a housewife, and here's my fucking retarded ex-wife sitting across from me. You know, what the fuck did she do, you know? And I'm sitting there going, I don't even want to do this shit. I don't want to fucking do this shit, you know? So it took me, you know, I quit roofing. I said, fuck it, I'll sell cars. And at night, I could try, because when you sell cars, you can have, you know, I contact with people. And I went to sell cars again. I had sold cars when I was in college. And there was a guy that I did not get along with at all. He hated me, and I fucking hated him. And after the first month one day, he was a manager. As I was leaving, he called me over. He's like, come here for a second. He goes, do you know what I did before I did this job? He goes, I moved here because of my wife. Her dad got sick, and we're here with him. But he goes, you know what I did for 12 years? I booked fucking entertainment in Vegas at some club. And he took me inside and showed me his notebooks we had taken pictures with. And I'm like, you never say this shit. You just act like a salesman. He's like, no, this is what I'm going to do. I can't live in Vegas no more. And he goes, and I got to tell you something. He goes, if I ever got into managing, I would fucking manage you. I'm like, manage me for what? He goes, comedy. I'm telling you, I can make some money with you. And I'm like, get the fuck out of here. He's like, I'm telling you. So that was the first guy that really pushed me. Then there was another guy, a manager that was a white motherfucking dude that I'm going to see this weekend, as a matter of fact. And he was so white. He used to call me over every day and go, Joey, you want to keep selling cars all your life? He goes, I'm thinking of leaving my wife. I want to take you on the road. He goes, just me and you in a fucking car. And I swear to God. And he go, every day I want you want to do stand-up comedy. He goes, I want you to write on a piece of paper, how are you going to get to your goal every day? How are you going to get closer to that goal? I didn't know what he was talking about. He would do it with selling cars. Like he'd put, you want to sell 10 cars a week, right? Or you got to take ups, you got to make phone calls, you got to do this. And he'd make you plan your day. I'd never had that before. And one day, I'm walking in the back of the dealership, and his son was one of the guys that washed the car, like he was 16. And he runs over to me, he goes, dog, the other day I heard my mom and dad arguing. And I heard my dad threaten her and said he was just going to quit his job, quit the marriage, and take you on the fucking road with him. And he's on Facebook, this kid. We talk on Facebook now, fucking 20 years later. And I went home, and I'm like, all these people have this confidence in me, but these fucking people who are around me don't. And then I went out and I was roofing one day. I was roofing for my brother. I was bringing him materials. And it was snowing or something. He goes, can you bring your tools back? It was the weirdest fucking thing. And I go, all right, I had a day off, and I brought him the tools back, and I stopped to get breakfast. And there was a Denver Post. And guys, there was a page that was folded, and when I opened it up, in the top of the page, it said, stand-up comedy taking storm in Denver again. Roseanne had just hit. And they were developing all these classes in Denver for comedians, and there was this one class for $33 fucking dollars. And I took the number, I ripped the fucking thing out of the newspaper, and I called down there, and they're like, yeah, you could start Sunday at the University of Colorado. I was going to school anyway. It was $33 fucking dollars to be a stand-up comic, right? And I went down there, I was ready to be a fucking stand-up comic. I thought they gave you like a microphone and shit, right? I go down there, it's 3 weeks, and at the end of the 3 weeks, the guy was from Long Island. He was really cool, and he talked to everybody. He's like, this is what you need to do. And afterward, he goes, I want you to stay a little later. He goes, listen, dog, I'm gonna get you a job as a doorman in a club. He goes, I really want you to work at this. At this time, guys, I was still fucking selling cars. I was moving 8 balls. I was doing everything. I was buying stolen cars and getting the VINs. Oh, please, don't get me fucking started, right? And I'm like, what is this stand-up comedy paying? They're like, nothing. This guy broke it down for me. He goes, for the first 3 years, you're gonna starve, motherfucker. And I'm like, you know what? I'll do comedy, but I'll sell coke. And I could balance it out, you know what I'm saying? Like, I could quit my job, but I could still sell coke and, steal from Kmart. I could still do my shit. Because they had a Kmart that had the fence outside. We used to rob that motherfucker every day. Lawn mowers, the fucking ones you drive. When I'm telling you this story, I don't want you guys to think that this took me 3 days. I thought about doing stand-up for 3 fucking years, people. All right? I'm the biggest pussy in the fucking world. I'm not going to tell you, like most people call me, like, hey, man, I'm thinking of doing stand-up. I'm writing material. I'm like, no, you're not. You're just procrastinating. Just get on stage and get it over with. Because for 3 years, that's what I would tell people. I'm selling cars, but I'm stand-up comedy. Where do you perform? In my kitchen, for my fucking dog. I don't perform. I thought I was a stand-up comic, but you have to get out there. And again, I kept fucking signing up for the open mic, and I would cancel every week. And even after I had the doorman job, the club had stout at other clubs, and they would go, all right, we'll call over there and tell them to put you up. And every week I would cancel. Every fucking week. I'd get a gram of coke, do 2 lines, and I'd have to cancel because I can't do coke. Oh, yeah, you can't fucking do it, you know what I'm saying? So I would call up, I got sick again, and I just kept pushing it back, guys, and pushing it back like a fucking pussy. And finally, one day I went down there with my wife. She's like, I'll help you go down there. She drove me. We made a big thing of it. We went for dinner. I hated her by this time, and she basically hated me, okay? We were 2 fucking ships in the night. She had her job. I had my job, and that's it. I worked from 6 to 6 selling cars, and then I'd come home, take a shower, and go fucking work the door at a club till 10 o'clock at night. I didn't even see it. We were both fucking miserable, And she drove me down there, and I got on stage, guys, for the first time. And it was the weirdest thing, because I was walking off. It came to me. I go, I'm fucking done. I got higher than any drug I had ever done. Heroin, coke, Tumanols, Quaaludes. This was the fucking epitome of high. I couldn't even walk to see her. Like, I was like Frankenstein. Like, the cum didn't even come out of my dick. It had just run up and down through my body. Like, that's what happened. That's the sense of cum, like the euphoria I got. And she knew. When she looked in my eyes right there, she knew it was all over. I got on stage June 18th of 91. By September, we were done. Done. That's it. The baby was 18 months old, but she knew. And at that time, I knew. I'm like, listen, I'm going to do this part-time and whatever. And I just dicked around. You know, I didn't take advantage of it. I was doing drugs. I thought I was a playboy. I was slinging dick. I bought an Acura. I didn't fucking know. I'm not going to lie to you. I bought an Acura, you know. And I was sitting there one night, and I see this ad in the paper for Boulder. I live in Boulder, and they're like comedy contest every fucking Tuesday at the Broker. The Broker was this old place that Tuesday nights had steak night, like prime rib for $14.95, and you got a free comedy ticket. So people basically went to eat the steak. They give a fuck about the comedy. But they were losers, so they sat there and just sat there and watched you. So I went down to one of the comedy contests one night, and it was fucking traumatizing. The magician, the guy who opened up was a magician, and his birds would get stuck in the lights and shit, and the rabbit wouldn't come out of the hat. He was fucking terrible. And I'm like, you know what? Even in the coked up haze, I'm better than that fucking guy. So I joined the contest, and I kept winning, and I ended up winning the whole fucking thing. I won the whole fucking thing with nothing, with 6 minutes of material that I would write that morning. And I went to the management came to me, and they're like, dog, you brought all these fucking people in here. But I was a real promoter. I'm like one of these promoters now. They email you, oh my God, come to a VIP. I call you and say, look, dog, I just picked up 100 Valium. I'm saying, I got some 10s. Come on down, and there's a dude down there selling blow. It's one-stop shopping. Dog, you got Valium? Come on down. You got blow down there? We'll hook you up at the bar. Bro, all my junkie buddies were down there. Bro, where's the comedy show at? I had everybody down there, right? All the Invicts from the halfway house, everybody. So I won because I brought the most people, you know what I'm saying? Like I won, then I went to them and I'm like, listen, I brought all these people. Let me host on Tuesday nights. And that was my only job. My job all week was just to write jokes, sell Valiums, and do comedy on Tuesday nights. That was my whole fucking career. And again, I fucked around with it. I didn't take it seriously, you know? And now I was going to war with my wife. And the kid was involved. And we were just going into this private fucking war where, you know, I had to beat the boyfriend up, and then he sent somebody to beat me up, and it was one of those type of things. And you know what? It was just too much. So I said, fuck it, I'm gonna give this a break. And I'm gonna go to New York and do comedy. And I went to New York for 9 months. You know how many times I got on stage in 9 months? 6 times. I fucking did nothing. I went to New York and got high. I lived with my buddy George, and he was on heroin, I was on coke. I used to call him the pincushion, because that's all he fucking did, was shoot heroin. I swear to God, you wake up on a Monday, the room was filled with little blood spots and shit. It was fucking classic. He was my dog, though. I love that motherfucker. We talk every day. Even today, I'm a soldier. He's off the H now, though. He's a family man now. He frames pictures and shit, you know what I'm saying? But, so something, I don't know what it was, like I missed my daughter. And I had gone to the clubs in New York, and I had seen what it was like, because that's what I was doing. I was just watching. I wouldn't get on stage. I was a spectator at that point. And when I went back to Colorado to try to be a dad, I said, fuck it, I'll just do comedy in Colorado. I'll be a good father. I'll get my life together. And I went back to Colorado, and it just got worse between me and the kid and the mother. It just kept getting worse and worse. And I was no fucking angel either, but sometimes when you get in a divorce, sometimes it goes that way. There's nothing you can do to control it, you know? So I had nothing. I didn't have my daughter. I lived in a Rocky apartment. You ever see Rocky 1, the fucking apartment he had? I had the same thing. The bathroom is the bedroom, is the living room, is the dining area, you know what I'm saying? It's just one room and it all smells like shit, you follow me? It was so bad I didn't even have mice. I didn't have fucking mice. Like the mice were like, dog, what the fuck? I lived there for a year and a half and I never turned the stove on one fucking time. I swear to God, this apartment was my comedy apartment, because when I went back, something, it inspired me to do, I had nothing. All I had, and I was working as a bookie at the time at a sports betting service, and I'm still fucking doing comedy, I'm still doing blow, and I had a stand-up shower, the apartment was this big. This was the kitchen, the door. I had a little couch here. There was a weightlifting bench that doubled as a dinner table, a weightlifting bench. And also a hanger and a coat hanger on the fucking things, right? I had a TV on an upside down box, and I had a little closet in the back that I just put a bed in there. There was no furniture, so all you did was, I took the door down. All you did was walk in the door and fall over. And just spin around and put the air conditioner on like a doctor, right? Like a doctor, no fucking walking around, no vacuuming and shit. This was a rock. In the bathroom, I had a hole in the wall where I throw all my empty packages from Coke. I'd get all coked up and I'd throw it in there in case the cops came in. I didn't want, and one night I got so paranoid I took the fucking wall down, right? And went in there, there was 1,000 empty things. I was licking all of them, they had mold on them. That's when you know it's time to move, when you take the wall down. You're like, fuck it, I took the wall down to see what was in there. So I was starting to go on the road a little bit. I had friends that would get me on the road. My first stop was Michigan. First time ever I got in a car and drove, and I went to Michigan. And the second night there, I meet a fucking crazy stripper. And she's like, I'm moving to Seattle in a week because my boyfriend wants to kill me. I go, fuck it, stop and get me in Boulder. I moved to fucking Seattle. An opportunity had opened, you know? I was about to kill my ex-wife or the boyfriend, or they were gonna kill me. And I seen it, I knew it, I know me. They were taking me into murky waters where I didn't care. I was prepared to kill one of them and go write jokes with Jay Leno on a computer and fax them every day. That's what was in my heart. I'm like, when this goes down, I'm gonna kill one of them. And because I was gonna kill both of them, but I was raised without a mother, so I can't kill the mother, but I was gonna kill the fucking boyfriend. That was my philosophy, and I'm sorry if I'm being too forward. Go through a divorce sometimes. You wanna kill somebody, you follow me? You go through a divorce, you want to kill somebody in your heart, no matter how nice of a person you are. There's 3 or 4 days where you're like, today's the fucking day. That night when you go home, you're like, woo, somebody else got killed today. You know, you ever drive your car stoned, you're driving, the sun's in your eyes, and all of a sudden you see a guy on a bicycle, you're like, woo, I almost hit him. You don't know how lucky that motherfucker is. You want to pull over and give him a hug, dog, today's your lucky day. I almost just killed your ass. I didn't hear you. I had my iPod on, you lucky dog. Because you weren't going to hear nothing but that's it. It was over. Palapinga, you know what I'm saying? Palapinga se murió. I don't know what happened, dog. In my heart, these people didn't know how close they came to dying. And I used to pray every day. And I said, you know what, dog? This is what I'm going to do. I'm not doing nothing here. It's gonna end up bad. I'm gonna embarrass myself in front of my daughter, which I already have. Let me do this. Let me go away, and let me try to do something with my life. And I could come back proud. You know, that was my philosophy. I'll never forget leaving Boulder for my first gig in Idaho by myself. I had a $600 car, and I had 2 driver's licenses at the time. I had 2 Colorado ones, right? And I said, fuck it, I gotta save on money, because I had like $20 to get to Idaho. I went to the gas station, filled it up, and go, dog, I left my cash at home, and I gave him the spare license. That's old school gangster type shit, you know what I'm saying? Because it was expired anyway. It's gonna sit in a drawer. Fuck it, you take it, right? They didn't. The lady was Arab. She didn't read too quick. She's like, fuck it, take it, all right, fuck it. No offense, I know that, you know, this is 20 years ago. They didn't know how to speak English at all then. They didn't know about the fucking date. They just got a job, you know, fuck it, it happens. The fuck, people? I told you I was racially insensitive, not racist. I love everybody. Big fucking difference, right? So I leave, and I leave, and you know, I go to Seattle, and I'm in Seattle for 18 months. But I went from doing comedy 12 times a month in Denver to 20 times or 30 times a month in Seattle. And I was having fun. I had the stripper girl. We're beating each other up. I kept going to jail. And I'm telling you, it started with a jaywalking ticket, and ended up they threw me out of the fucking state. That's how it started, with a jaywalking ticket, because I didn't pay it, and they came and arrested me. Fucking Seattle, don't fuck with those people. Those are Republicans, motherfuckers, right there. That's Mayberry with skyscrapers. That's what my friend used to call it, right? So I'm in trouble up there, but I'm developing as a comic. You know, I'm sleeping on floors. It makes you right. I was living in an apartment. I had shit out the window. I had no toilet in the office. It was an office building. I swear to God, dog. You gotta be creative when you're a comedian. You gotta cut down on shit. So instead of renting an apartment, I rented an office space. They didn't have a shower. They had a toilet, but it was locked. But I had a window. I just sit out there and shit out my window. Fuck it, you know what I'm saying? I wipe my ass, throw the paper out there for the pigeons. Fuck it. Hey, man, it was $125 a month, dog. So what? I didn't have a bathroom. You piss out the window, I bring water, and then in the morning I go to the gym. I was in the best shape of my life because I'm a clean motherfucker. I was in the gym 3-4 times a day taking a shower. They got the shaving cream in there. You put it in your ass, you know what I'm saying? It was a nice white gym, not like the YMCA. They got no towels and shit. There's one of those gyms, they got their own toothbrushes. You grease your hair back. You steal a comb for later. What the fuck is wrong with you people? When you're a comic, you gotta fucking, that's the sacrifice you give. Listen, a lot of times, comedians don't like comedians. I don't like a bunch of fucking comedians. But I'll shake their hand because I know the struggle they went through. If they sacrifice half the shit I sacrifice half my life. Don't get me wrong. I snorted coke, but I lived in a car. Do you know what I'm saying? I knew where to cut down. It's like Cuban Jews. When they came over in a raft with an engine. They knew where to cut the cost. You follow me? Sometimes you just got to cut costs. A lot of you didn't get that joke. Fuck it, I ain't going to say it again. You missed a good joke, you know what I'm saying? But you're focused on the fucking waiter. That's what happens. You know what I'm saying? So I lived in a car, but I was still fucking snorting coke and eating pills. I just cut down on rent. So I was always sacrificing something, and the comics do the same. Hey, my first year on the road, I ate more Subway veggie and cheese sandwiches than fucking Jared. Do you understand me? Those veggie and cheese, because they're $2.99 for a 12-inch, those motherfuckers last all day. You cut that into 4s when you're on the road, That dry fucking bread with a Mountain Dew, that's fucking death right there. You know what happens to your stomach after fucking 5 years of eating that shit? So I understand the struggle. So that's why I respect him. Even though I'm like, this guy's a fucking pussy, I respect, you know what I'm saying? I respect that he had to go somewhere along his life. You know, we work on the fucking weekends. That means there's no weddings, there's no fucking playtime with your family. You fly back on Monday. And I'm not saying nothing bad about it. I'm just explaining that there's cuts that you make, like in any fucking job. If you're a plumber, you know, you gotta wear a fucking mask because you'll die from smelling shit. There's always some cutback. If you work with asbestos, you make $22 an hour, but you're gonna get cancer. There's always something, you know what I'm saying? If you cut hair on commission. There's always a by the fucking way, right or wrong. There's always something in your job. So, I'm living in Seattle. I'm on probation, on top of probation. I'm going to anger management class, but I'm still doing comedy every night. I'm making a little bit of money. I'm paying child support. It's okay. Everybody else is doing great around me. LA seemed like a distant fucking fart. Like I was doing comedy at that time 6 years, and I'm like, I'm never gonna be good enough for LA. So I'm gonna just stay in Seattle and keep fucking the stripper, and I'll die up here, whatever. One Christmas Eve, I walk off, like 2 nights before Christmas, they just hire locals because they'll be dead anyway. And some dude came up to me and he's like, dog, I work for CBS. We're looking for a guy like you for a pilot. Would you be willing to go to LA and shoot a pilot? I'm like, no, I want to stay and shit in my fucking window in the office. You give me a hotel for 3 days, I'm good. I don't even want money. You know what I'm saying? Just put me in a hotel. I want to shit in the toilet. It's been months. You follow me? A nice warm toilet with toilet paper. I don't have to balance myself. I can read the paper. So he says, no. It's going to shoot for like a month, so I need you to move down there. I'm going to give you some money and move you down there. I'm like, you can't be fucking serious. So, at that time, I wasn't even allowed out the state of Seattle. And I told the guy, yeah, I'll be down in LA by the end of January. I gave him my word. He goes, we'll send you a check to move, and we'll give you another check when you get down there. At this time, I had nothing in the bank, no credit cards, no nothing. Nothing. $10 would have been a lot of fucking money to me. And I'm supposed to leave on the 29th. I got a letter like on the 8th of January that they wanted to revoke my probation and throw me in fucking jail for 90 days. I'm like, what the fuck am I gonna do? So I went to my attorney, I showed her the paperwork from CBS. He goes, let's have an emergency fucking meeting. They took it to court. The courtroom guy goes, the judge goes, listen, you seem like a nice guy. He goes, I caught your act on New Year's Eve. He had seen me New Year's Eve, right, with Doug Stanhope, right? So he fucking loved it. This is 1995, 96, guys. He goes, you have different views on the world. He goes, I'm gonna let you go to LA, but I don't want you to come back to Seattle for 2 years until you get your life and head together. So I moved to fucking LA, and I came to LA, and I got a little room, And I took half the money and bought a bunch of blow. And I went right to the Comedy Store. And guys, I was out of my fucking league. In my heart, I was always out of my league. I'm like, I'm just gonna go through, and I gave myself like a year. I go, I'll give a year. If nothing happens, I'll move back to Colorado, kill those motherfuckers. And certify what I am, a piece of shit. Certify it, fuck it. What am I gonna do this shit for? I'm gonna be out here with all these good looking people, you know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna get nothing, but at least I'll know in my heart. I always wanna know in my heart I gave it a fucking try. I can't see not giving anything a fucking try. You gotta give it a try, fuck it. If they say no, suck my dick. You go home and you go back to Kmart, you sell Coke until the heart ticks out. Fuck it. You lived your life, but at least you gave it a shot. And I fucking came here and I went right to the Comedy Store. Why fuck around? I had heard that was the place. Richard Pryor, Kennison. Why fuck around? And that little woman looked at me and she goes, can you come back next week and do 5 minutes? My fucking dick got hard again. Like all the sperm was supposed to come out of here. And it just went right to my feet and jacked up to my ears. That time it dripped out. That time I had a couple drips of cum. I smelt it. I'm like, on a Monday night. Look at this shit. So it's amazing, the timing is everything in life. People say timing is everything. No, you have a window. In life, the window opens up and you either fucking tackle that motherfucker or you close the fucking window. And that's all I did at that time. I just kept throwing spaghetti against the wall, and I would go to managers and they go, you're too old, you're too ugly, you're too fat. Dog, I heard a bunch of shit, right? And then we shot the pilot, and the pilot didn't get picked up on CBS, nothing. And then there's one guy seeing me at the store one night. He's like, hey, I want to sign you. I'm like, all right, let's do it. And he signs me, and he goes, I can't make money off you as a comic, so I'm going to send you in for auditions. I'm like, all right, send me in for auditions, right? So the first audition they sent me for was like Church's Chicken and all this shit, commercials. You never forget this stuff, right? Like the guy that got hit in the face with the snowball. You never forget that shit. So I kept going in for commercials. I'm like, when am I going to go in for a big feature motion picture, And finally, when they called me in for Taco Bell one day, and it's the first commercial with the dog. And it was a Miami commercial with a Cuban cab driver, and they hired me to be the Cuban cab driver. I got a fucking commercial. Holy shit, I could stay an extra 6 months now because I did something, in the back of my head. I'm like, oof, I just bought myself 6 months, bitches. Fuck the snow. I didn't care about the money. You don't care about nothing. It's just that you move forward. And I get to the commercial shoot, and they're like, dog, we wrote off your commercial, but we want you to sit here for 3 days and get paid. I don't give a fuck. I get paid for 3 days. I just brought like a book or something. Like the second day, the guy heard me talking, and he goes, dog, I need for you to do in this commercial. And he put me in there, and I made the fucking commercial. And at least I had something to work with now. So the guy started sending me in for different TV shows, and I was shitting my fucking pants, guys. And then he sent me in for a movie called Basketball. He sent me in, right? But the truth was, listen to this, guys, again. He sent me in for NYPD Blue. But it was 9 pages. And I didn't know. I didn't fucking read this. So I go in the room. I'm like, yeah, how you doing? Da, 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 da. Thank you, Mr. Diaz. That was fantastic. You'll hear from our people. Get the fuck out of here. Fucking fat fuck trying to be. And I'm walking down the hallway, sweating, because they send you to the other side of Fox. I'm walking, and I had a shirt with a string on it. Life is fucked up. Dog, and there's a door right here. As I get to right here, a lady cuts me off. And she goes, are you here for the audition? I guess so. She goes, sign your name. Read this sheet of paper. It was only one sheet, one line. I go, I could read this shit. And I start reading this shit. Oh my God, I could read this shit, dog. I could read this motherfucker. I go in there, I read it. She goes, read it again. I read it again, read it again, read it again. She goes, thank you very much for coming in. I leave. I'm living on Schrader in Hollywood in a fucking hotel where crack hoes live. And I could afford a nicer hotel, but fuck that. I want action, you know what I'm saying? Fuck it. What would you rather have, a pool, or would you rather have the option of going to your hotel lobby and getting your dick sucked by a hooker with a missing finger, you know what I'm saying? For $5 on the way home. You follow me? I had great times, and now it's a hostel. It's a hostel now, European people. Every time I walk back there, I'm like, ha, 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 ha. I hope you're not in room 113. Smell the fucking sheets, you little filthy fucking animals. And it was one of those hotels that they had a payphone in the hallway, and they would say, who's Joey? Who's Joey? And I'm in my room one day, stone whacking off. The people next door are fucking in the afternoon. I'm over there, Joey! I'm like, Joey, that's me. And I open up the door. I'm like, I'm Joey, like the fucking phone guy. Where the hell you been? I go downstairs. Hello, and it's my manager. And he's like, hey, dog, you sitting down? I'm like, yeah, what's up? He's like, you're in the movie Basketball. They're gonna pay you $5,500 for 4 weeks for one fucking line, right? I'm like, no. Come on. Yeah. And I was a criminal like a motherfucker. I made them pay for my SAG, but here's what gets better. That movie, everybody had roller skates, right? I would go in there every day and they have a new set of roller skates with the receipt. I'd take the roller skates home with me every night. I'm a criminal, dog. I'd stop at that Scottish warehouse, what's the name, where they sell skis and shit every day. I come in the Sports Authority, how you doing? My grandmother got me these for Christmas. What do you think? They had a truck full of them. Do you understand me? A truck. A trailer truck. And every day they put a pair in my room, and every day I'd steal them and go back to this, dog, where's my boots? We gave you a pair yesterday. We're all out of 13s. Give me a 12. It don't matter. Give me 11, I'll take a kid size. I don't give a fuck. It's all 139 across the board. You know what I'm saying? Bro, I must have robbed them for 80 pair of fucking boots, dog. That's how much of a fucking criminal I was. I didn't give a fuck. I was going in there for a month, coked out every morning. 6 in the morning, I just go in there, look at Jenny McCarthy and lay in the trailer and sleep. And the one night I drank red wine, you know, red wine fucks you up. I get in there like, you're shooting today. I had never done anything, guys. Cut, nothing. I get out there, I don't even know what I'm doing. Like, where's your roller skates? There ain't none left. If you watch Basketball, I fucking make believe I got skates. That's how tight my acting was in those days. Fresh out the box. Fuck that acting class shit. They're like, where's your skates? I don't have none, dog. Where are his skates? There's no more size 13s, 12, 11, 10. We got nothing. If you watch that movie and I turn away, I'm on fucking my sneakers, dog. What? Fuck you. But I was getting acting roles, but my stand-up was getting beat up. People fucking hated me. They hated me. I was too dirty, this, but the Comedy Store liked me, and Mitzi Shore liked me. And that's all that fucking mattered to me. That's all that mattered to me. Then a movie called Analyze This came out. And I went to see the fucking movie, and in the movie theater, I had the tears coming down my face. Because I kept saying, I could do this fucking movie. I could fucking do this. And 6 months later, I got an audition for a movie, some big-ass movie, and I go in there and I read the lady goes, listen, I can't use you for this, but I could use you for my next movie. Analyze that. And I go, what? And she goes, send me some, it was right before Christmas. She goes, send me some reel. And I'd done this movie called The Mezzos about gay people, the gay mafia. And I was a gay mobster, right? It was fucking great. It's still on the gay channel, late night sometimes. They play it on the, I don't tweet it, because fuck it, I don't want nobody to see it. They might get the wrong, they might start tweeting me back with pictures of their dick and shit, you know what I'm saying? So, I'm just telling you guys, because you came down on Wednesday night. I love you motherfuckers. You know, if you think I'm special, I think you're special. So now we're all special. You guys know secrets and shit. Don't look it up and don't tell nobody, because I'll kill you. I'll hunt you down and shit out your fucking window, you know what I'm saying? So I brought the fucking tape to her and I sent it to New York, and everything was a roadblock, dog. They called me to audition. I had to go to New York. I had $10 in the bank. I had to get my buddy to give me a buddy pass. Guess what? They lost my fucking luggage. So I had to go to New York at 2, and then my audition was at 5. I had to go buy a warm-up suit, and it was a fucking nightmare. And I went in there and nailed it. But I didn't want to nail it, guys. I didn't want to nail that movie for the movie. I wanted to nail that movie because it was Harold Ramis. Do you understand who Harold Ramis is? Ghostbusters, Caddyshack, Animal House. Fucking, his best movie is Groundhog Day. I mean, this motherfucker is a tank. And you know why? Because when he worked on CTV, they hired all his friends for Saturday Night Live. But they didn't hire him. They didn't think he was good enough. And this motherfucker took a pen and he goes, really? I'm gonna sink your fucking boat. And he wrote fucking the first Bill Murray one. And I remember sitting on the set, again, sperm coming out of every orifice at that time. I get emotional thinking about it. This is Harold Ramis. So it didn't matter if anybody didn't like me in stand-up. It didn't matter if they liked me at the comedy store. It didn't matter whether they liked me or not. I was working next to a guy, and the guy hired me. He seen my tape, and he took the time to talk to me. After I met that guy, my attitude changed completely. I was like, fuck these, because he told me that day. He goes, they didn't even invite me to Montreal. Fuck those motherfuckers. He goes, in other words, like, they can't do nothing to you that Castro hasn't already done. Go for it, bro. Go for it. Fuck them. He goes, when you see a movie, send tapes. Send it right to the director. I'm looking at this motherfucker like, this is Harold Ramis talking to me, a piece of shit. Again, another guy that if he knew I was lighting hookers' wigs on fire, he wouldn't be talking to me like that. You know what I'm saying? He took the time to talk to me. Right there, I was like, wait a second. This guy's a fucking street guy. This guy's a badass motherfucker. I like to say he's a badass Jew. I'm not sure, and I don't want to offend nobody. It's Yom Kippur, you know what I'm saying? I want to keep it safe. I don't want the Jew gods pissed off at me. I fall down. Then I can't get an attorney. You know how that goes. You fucked with the Jews on Yom Kippur. That's what you get. Now you can't get an attorney. You gotta go to court with some African dude with a wig and shit. You know what I'm saying? I need this shit in my life. I'm definitely doing fucking 20. But that guy fucking told me to have balls. He goes, fuck them. If they don't like you, fuck them in the ass. Then come on them and fuck them in the ass again. Like that type of attitude. This is a guy from Chicago. I was like, God damn, I've been missing the fucking boat. So I went home, and I started working harder, and I'm still doing coke. I'm not a criminal no more. I'm still selling a little bit of coke on the side, if you know what I mean. I'm doing movies, I'm trying, I'm doing stand-up. And then something happened that really fucked me up. I sent an envelope in for a movie, because it was the winter time, and I figured they're not gonna be open. I sent the movie, and they called me back, and it was Spider-Man 2. Right, so I go in there, and it's all these movie stars in there, and they go, and I went with a Yankee hat on and shit. And I got that fucking movie, and that's another guy that I admired since I was a guy. The one movie he made, a horror guy, Sam Raimi. That motherfucker's a genius, and I get to meet him, and he's talking to me and shit. This motherfucker's talking to me like, dog, I liked your audition tape. And I'm like, what the fuck is this shit? Why are these people talking to me? And then I became friends with this little girl on the set. I would stick up for her. And one day I'm at the thing stealing pomegranate juice, because pomegranate juice was big then. I would go there and take one for me for later. Oh, Spider-Man 2 was great, because they gave me my own little room in the back, and I'd smoke dope in the fucking room. Then I'd leave, and I'd go get Sam Raimi. I go, Sam, can I talk to you? Somebody keeps breaking into my room and smoking marijuana. And he would go, Joey, what are you telling me for? I don't know what to tell you. And I would go in there and smoke dope and shit, right? So Spider-Man was great, guys. So I become friends with a little girl, and she was like a little, she was a Hollywood girl, dog. Can you imagine being raised and your dad's like a big shot? But I didn't know her dad was a big shot. Nobody had said nothing. And one day I'm drinking pomegranate juice, and this dude comes over to me. He's like, so, you Joey? I'm like, hey, he goes, my little girl, my wife talked about you all weekend. What's the deal? You a pervert or something? Right? I'm like, nah, we were all on the fucking train together. You're on the train, you gotta talk to somebody. And she's talking to us, she was insulting actors. She was calling them BA, which is short for bad actors, right? This girl was fucking hilarious. She's like, he's a bad actor, he's a bad actor, you're okay, he's a bad actor. I'm like, this little girl got balls. If I had a daughter, I want her to be her, So I meet the father, and I forget what his fucking name is. He won an Oscar for Star Wars, for cinematography or something. He was working on he won something for Spider-Man 2, too. Who's the baseball player that went crazy from Philadelphia? Nails. Dykstra. So this is Dykstra. The guy's name was something Dykstra. It was like his second cousin. And this is where the story comes from, right? That we're in the thing, and he smells me, and he goes, dog, you holding? I go, yeah, I'm holding. He goes, let's go for a walk. It's about 7:15 in the morning, right? So I go, if you want, we go to the fucking apartment. Don't worry, I'll go tell Raimi that somebody broke in again and smoked pot in my thing. He's like, I heard about that, what the fuck? Because the whole bottom floor would stink at fucking Sony, right? So we walk around the back, and there's these poles and lights and shit, and we're back there. And I take out like this one hit, and we're back there smoking. And all of a sudden you hear a bunch of shit moving, right? And some like AD comes out, and she's like, excuse me, they're looking for you on the set, not me, the guy. Now, wait a second. If I won an Oscar in this town for Star Wars, I'd be walking around with my dick out all day. I'd be a Dairy Queen, how you doing? Yeah, let me get 2 fucking Whoppers, whatever you got. Somebody's sucking my dick at Burger King. So for this lady that's an AD to talk to him like this, I was blown the fuck away. You know me, dog, I'm crazy. And he's like, well, they're looking for you. Don't you have your walkie-talkie? And he's got the fucking one-hitter. And he's like, no. And he gives it back to me, and all of a sudden, she goes, well, anyway, they're looking for you. And she goes like this. And she turns back and she goes, are you 2 guys smoking marijuana? Do you know it's 7:50 in the morning? So he don't say nothing because he's too fucking high. And then she put, what's wrong with you? That's just it. It's 7:15 in the morning. I'm like, 7:15 in the morning, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with you? If you ain't high, go fuck yourself, right? And that's where that started from. That's where it started from, right? So here I am. I'm causing drama on Spider-Man 2. It's bad enough I got 1 line. They kept me for a month. I'm in there all day and shit. I'm in there at 7. How you doing? On Fridays, they had lobster tails. All these people eating salads. Why are you eating salad? There's lobster tails. I was eating lobster tails like they were fucking little fucking pieces of chicken. You should have seen me. Another one, Joey? Yeah, nobody else is fucking eating them. What, are you gonna take them to go? Then I get a fucking call one day, right? And now through all this shit, I'm on blow, guys. You know, I got a great girlfriend who's now my wife, and she's pregnant. At that time, she didn't know what the fuck was going on. She knew, but I'm on blow, and I'm going on these auditions, and I didn't know what my next step was, you know? One movie I got that I didn't think that really helped me also was Rodney Dangerfield put me in one of his last movies. And just being around that guy, like nobody, I didn't even have a fucking agent, guys. Nobody would talk to me. I didn't go to Montreal. I didn't do nothing for TV. Nobody would talk to me. It's like fucking, I always had a cold. But here's Rodney Dangerfield talking to me. They hired me. They didn't even have a character for me. They just would make me come in every day. And they gave me a name, and they would ask Rodney, what are you going to do with Joey tomorrow? I don't know. Tell him to come in. We'll find something for him. And I would sit there all day, and they put me a scene. So here's all these fucking people that liked me, but nobody around me would give me love. So, you know, by that time, my confidence was getting a little higher. I'm like, fuck these motherfuckers. I'm just going to go for it. And my agent calls me one day. He goes, I sent you a breakdown. And it's for a movie called The Longest Yard. Did you ever watch the original? I'm like, fuck yeah. And he goes, they're looking for a guy just like you. So I go, call up. Let's get this going. He calls me back. He goes, Joey, they want a star. I go, wait a second. Look, read this fucking thing. So time went on, and I started snooping around. When I had done Spider-Man, I met this dude on the set. So he worked for the Sandler people. So I called him up, and he's like, Joey, I was just thinking about you. He goes, your name came up the other day. He goes, they're looking at Tony Saragusa and Big Pussy. But somebody suggested you, right? And I'm like, fuck it, all right. So he goes, but they really want to give it to Saragusa, and or if not, they really want to give it to Big Pussy from The Sopranos, right? And I go, all right, fuck it, dog, I'll work this out. Guys, I was in Houston, Texas one night, coked up to the fucking gills. 5 in the morning, trying to whack off, looking out a window, figuring out whether I should call a chick or something, you know what I'm saying? Just in horrible shape. And I was heartbroken about this movie, because in my mind, I knew this movie would give me a boost. And I'm heartbroken about this, because this is fucking me. The next night I go to the comedy club, and I tell this kid, I go, dog, you have a camera? I go, tomorrow, let's go over and shoot some things at the University of Houston. So I went to Sports Not Authority, but played against sports, and I bought the smallest, tightest fucking shirt they had. I bought the smallest fucking shoulder pads, and I bought a fucking kid's helmet. And tight football pants with my balls hanging out, with my stomach hanging on my fucking nutsack. The next day, he goes, what do you want to do? I go, I'm trying to get in this longest shot. He goes, you just told me the other night that they either want to give it to Sharippa or Saragusa or Big Pussy. I go, you know what, bro? All those guys are great comedic actors, but as far as funny, I've done halftime at Buffalo out of a hockey game. That, to me, guys, is worse than getting gang raped. You understand me? If 10 guys put a dick in my ass, I'd take that if I ever had to do Buffalo again. People throw hot dogs at you. There ain't no love during hockey over the Buffalo game, dog. It's cloudy there. There's more suicides in Buffalo than anywhere else in the fucking world. Do you understand me? I love the place. I love Buffalo, New York. But, dog, that was when I realized how hard it was to really be a comic. When I did time in Buffalo at a halftime of a fucking hockey game. Okay, and that was, I said it. I said I do that. I follow Paul Mooney every night. I got to follow Joe Rogan at the fucking Comedy Store. If that doesn't mean something, that's got to mean something. You know what it is to follow Paul Mooney or Don Herrera every fucking night, guys? Think about going to court when you're going to go to jail. And you know you're going to go to jail. Driving down to the Comedy Store, knowing you're going to be fucking embarrassed in front of 60 fucking people every night. Well, that's what I did. And I said, fuck it. If I did that, I could do this. So I ran around and put the fucking thing on tape. I called my agent. I said, dog, I made a tape. He goes, Joey, they've already made Tony Saragusa an offer. I go, dog, send this fucking tape. Send it. And I called my boy, and he gave me the address to send it. And he sent it, and 2 days later, fucking, they called me. And they took me out to fucking lunch. And guess what, guys? I had $4. I didn't even have enough money to pay for the valet parking. I had to park 8 miles away and run there. And it was July. I was sweating fucking profusely. I had stayed up till 6 in the morning doing blow, plus the sweat from running. I was a fucking mess. I had yellow armpits. You follow what I'm saying to you motherfuckers? I remember ordering lunch and saying, I hope these motherfuckers don't make me pay, because I'm going to be fucking embarrassed. I didn't even have money for fucking lunch, guys. So this is all this shit that's happened. And I'm sitting there in the longest yard set, and I'm saying to myself, this was a hobby for me. I was a fucking criminal. This was a hobby. I'm telling you guys, this was a hobby for me at first. Through the fucking love of God, and somehow I ended up in Los Angeles. And today I'm not successful, and I'm not David Letterman, and I'm not fucking Cat Williams. But, you know, even though I don't talk to my daughter, I did something with my life that I thought I would never, guys, please. I thought I was a piece of shit, and I still am. I wake up in the morning, I look in the mirror, I gotta smoke a joint just to come down from the fucking heart attack. You follow what I'm saying to you? Because I can't believe it that I'm fucking gonna be 50. I can't fucking believe it. But this all started as a fucking hobby. This is a hobby that saved me. I didn't do good. I'm here with you motherfuckers. So Wednesday night, if I was doing good, I'd be at home with 6 fucking Asian chicks lighting their pussy hairs on fire. Watching Blue Bloods or Sons of Anarchy, rubbing my toes. You follow what I'm saying to you? I'm happy you guys came out. Thank you very much for coming out tonight, guys. Thank you for hearing it out and shit. You bad motherfuckers.